Hey there, Heather. Hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Diving. Welcome you to another In the Pocket bowling thing. It's the bowling game made for the PC. And, I got this last year and I did do some stuff with it, but now I have changed my mind. And then I decided to come back with it. So, what we're doing is we're using the card set PBA Top 50. There are 50 of the greatest sorry, bowlers of all time. So, what will happen in this series is that it will be one-on-one match, top against the bottom, and all that. So, anyhow, you know, what will happen is it'll be head to head, and it'll be the 25 winners and the top 7 runners up for points for pins will get in. It'll be a 32-person tournament and all that. So that's just the basics of it. So we have 5 matchups today, and then 5 per day. So here we go. Our first match is Walter Ray Williams and Bill Allen. Here we go. Walter Ray with a 226 average, Bill Allen with 211. Ray goes first. He rolls a 225. That's a spare 9, but he'll have to make the spare. Bill Allen throws a 464. That's a 14. That's a K on everyone's board. Yeah. Well, Williams, that's a 9. Allen, second frame, will throw a 244. That's a 10. That's a K on everyone's board. So he does that. Walter, 215. That's 8. And that unfortunately means that that's only 8 pins. So with the spare, that's 10 plus 8 is 18. Walter, third frame, throws a 332. That's another 8. So he has fallen apart in a sense. Bill Allen throws a 2-1-5-5. That's 11. That's a strike. So he's looking big. Fourth frame. He throws a 3-1-2. Unfortunately, that is not going to be strike number 4 in a row. That will be a 6, and that is an 8 split. That will be a spare. Walter. 3-6-3. That's 12. That's a K on everyone's board. So beautiful job there. Fifth frame. Throws a 4-2-5. That's another strike on the board. That's 11. Bill Allen throws a 6-4-1. That's 11. That's a strike on a 6. He throws a 2-4-2. That's a 8 and a spare. So that's 118 through 5. That's big. Walter Ray throws a 4-4-2. That's a 10. That's a strike. So he's working on another strike on 7. Throws a 5-1-3. That's a 9. So that's 115 through 5 and all that. Bill Allen throws 5-1-6. That's a strike. He's still got a 3-pin lead after 6 frames. On to 8. He throws 5-5-2. That would be a 12. However, a pair of 5 and a pair of 6. A pair of 5s means back 2 frames. So whatever he scored on the 6th frame, which is a 8 spare, is what he gets. Walter throws a 2-5-1. That's an 8. So he gets 8 and spare, and he's only 5 pins back. On to 9. He throws 5-6. That would be a pair of 6s. He will have to do what? Frame number 8. That would have been 17. I don't know what that would have been marking at. But anyway, Bill Allen, 9th frame. Throws a 3-6-4. That's a strike. That's 13. So now he's got a 7-point lead. Now, because Walter Ray is trailing, he's got to throw first. He will throw a triple twos. That's a strike. He needed a 6. No, 4-1-1. A 2-2-2. So triple twos, that's a strike. Second frame. 3-3-6, that's another strike. And then it's 2-4-5. He ends with a turkey 221. So that's a good number. Bill Allen on 10. Throws a 6-3-5. That's a strike. I think he's got another strike, ices it. 253, that's a strike. That's a 208. And we add the fact that, that makes 20 points. That's 228 for sure. As for he throws another strike, so he gets a 238. He wins 238, 221. Nice job by Bill Allen throwing 9 strikes. Walter Ray only could throw 6. Now Bill will move on to the final 32 by winning. Walter Ray's 221 will now be the the card. Now we go to Parker Bone the third versus Don Johnson. Hopefully we don't have any guys with the same last name because that will make it different. So it's Bone versus Johnson. Parker Bone a 224 average as a lefty and a 211 average for Don Johnson. Not that John. Parker starts first. He'll throw a 151. That's a 7, but that's a 511. So he'll have an open frame. Johnson throws a 332. That's not a strike. It'll be a spare. Second frame is a 665. Too high for a strike. And it'll be just like the first frame. It'll get 18 off of that. Parker throws a 455, and yet again, that would be 14 for a strike, but because it's a pair of fives, he goes back to the other frame. So Parker Bone's thrown 2 open frames. Third frame is a 664 and a yet again. So Parker Bone has been faltering. And my guess is he won't score high enough. Johnson throws a 355, pair of fives back 2 frames. So it's his first frame score. So that makes another 8 spare. 4 frame. Throws a 535, another double 5 back 2 frames. So he's been getting 8s on every first throw and then a spare. He has to finish up with a spare. Parker throws a 611, and again, that's another open frame. Parker Bone has been thrown off his game. Terrible. On to 5. He throws a 544, 13. That is a strike, so he's coming back. But it's a TLTL. Too little, too late. Johnson throws a 643. That's a strike. He's practically crushing Bone right now. On to 6. He throws a 112. So he throws a 4 out of pocket chart. It's a 9, and he misses the last frame. So he'll have an open frame of 102. Parker throws a 423. That's a spare. So, at least he can score off of that. 7th frame. Throws a 666. That's back 1 frame. So that means, well, actually, no, wait. That's back 2 frames. I guess 666 means back 2 frames because that's 8 spare. No, they counted like an 8, I think. So 3 of a kind. They call it a spare. On the 7, Johnson throws 441. That's a spare. On the 8, he throws 553. That's problematic. That is a double 5 back 2 frames. Actually, shouldn't that be a strike? Why is that a 7-2? 3-1-1-5. 3 of a kind. Well, that can't be right. I don't know what they're talking about. Parker throws a 514. That's a strike. He's got a chance. On 9, he throws a 564. That's a strike. That could be big. Johnson throws a 142. That's a spare. And they're going to give Parker the 10th frame to start. Yeah, he will get the 10th frame because he was trailing. Parker throws a 651. That's a strike. He's only back by 4. This could be a massive comeback. Throws a 312. That's another strike. Can he make it 5 in a row? He won't. He misses by a frame. So 183. Not really the best score around. Despite having 4 open frames to start, he might win. Johnson throws a 254. That's a strike. He can't win. No, he can't win. Parker Bone's going to win because even if Johnson throws 3 strikes, that's 178. And he can't make a strike. And Parker Bone somehow, in some freaking way, comes back to win 183, 168. So Johnson's 168 will have to be trying to qualify. Parker Bone throws 4 open frames. Yeah, he puts up strike, spare, spare, strike, 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 9. Johnson, after the 5th, when he was up by 47 points, by almost 40 points, 9 for an open frame, spare, 7, 2, 9 points, open frame, then spare, strike, and then spare. So Johnson can't believe it. Parker Bone gets 4 terrible frames to start, and yet he still wins 183, 168 because Johnson threw terribly late. All right, so we go with Chris Barnes against Dave Sultar. What's it called? Sultar. Sultar. Barnes versus Sultar. That's coming up next. Chris Barnes at 222, Sultar 212. So let's see what Barnes does. He leads off with a 4-1-3. That's 8, and that is how many pins he gets, but he gets the spare. Sultar throws a 5-1-4. That's 10. That's just enough for a strike. Sultar throws a 2-6-5. That is a strike. Barnes throws triple threes. That's 3 of a kind. That's not good. A 9. That would be 9 spare. But unfortunately for him, what am I thinking? Chris Barnes will get a 222 and triple. Barnes third frame is a 1-1-6. That's an open frame for 35. Sultar throws a 5-3-5. That's 13. And that's his 3rd strike in a row. On to 4. He throws a 5-4-4. That's 13. That's enough for a strike, and he's started off quickly. 4 straight strikes. Barnes throws a 4-3-2. That's a spare. 9 spare on that one. On to 5. He throws a 5-5-1. Bad news. It would be a strike. That's 11 points. But the fact of the matter is that the double 5 means he goes back 2 frames. So his score is of the 3rd frame. Sultar throws a 1-4-1, and finally he can't strike. He only gets 6. Well, the 4-1-1 is a 7-2. Another combination for 6 would have been a spare. So he's up 115, 62 through 5. Sultar throws a 5-2-6. He's back on the strike zone. That's 13. Barnes throws a 3-5-5. That's bad news. That's not a strike. That's back 2 frames, and that would be his score for the 4th frame. On 7. Throws a 4-6-6. That's a spare. Back 1 frame. That is what his 6th frame score would be. On to 7. He throws a 2-4-2. That's a spare. 8 points. Well, that's a spare. On to 8. Throws a 5-6-1. That's 12. That's a K on everyone's board. Barnes throws a 3-6-3. That's a strike. I think he's screwed. On 9. He throws a 1-4-2. I think that's pretty much it. Sultar's throwing a strike. So they'll let Barnes finish it off. He throws a 2-1-3. That's a strike. Myers Taylor won. Wow. Throws a 1-2-1. That's a terrible way to end. 159. I don't know if that's going to work out for Barnes. He was a pretty good guy. 159. That's low. That's the 3rd highest. But remember, it's the top 7. Sultar can finish it up. Well, actually, we don't need to worry about that. He was in, and he finishes with a 212. Good score, but it doesn't actually matter. You win your 20. There's top 50. You win. There's 25 winners. You win your match. It doesn't matter what your score is. 212 would be lower than welterweight, but he won that cleanly. He he got a new Barnes. Couple of terrible throws. 159. He only had how many open frames did he have? He had 4 open frames, but he didn't win like his other guy. Doesn't matter. Normie Duke will take on Dick Weber. I know there's 2 of them. So Norm Weber will take on Dick, the great Dick Weber. 212 against Norm Duke. 222 normally. So Norm Duke will lead off. First throw is a 553, so that's a that would be a 13, but they are going to make it. I don't know what they're making it. I don't know why it's a 7 spare. 5, meh, I don't know. Anyway, here's Weber. Throws a double 6 for that's 16, but that is too high. And he'll throw 7 spare. Second frame, he throws a 664. That is going to be the same as the first frame. Pair of sixes back 1 frame, so his second frame scores his first frame. Norm throws a 1-2-1. That's a strike. Out of pocket chart, he gets the strike. On to 3, he throws a 4-4-3. That's 11. That's a strike. Weber throws a 3-4-2, and he'll spare 9 spare on that one. On to 4, Weber throws a 3-2-3. That's a spare as well. That's 8 points. That's a spare. Dort throws a 1-1-2 and a terrible out of pocket chart on that one. So he'll get a open frame that could open the door for Dick. Norm throws a 5-5-1. That's a strike. 11's a strike, and with a pair of 5s, he goes back 2 frames. So that means his score would be what the third frame is. Dick throws a 6-2-4. That's a strike. It's a close match. It's a 3-pin differential. Dick throws a 2-5-5. That's a 12. That would be a strike, but because a pair of 5s, you have to go back 2 frames. So his 6-frame score will be his 4-frame score. Norm Duke throws a 3-4-2. That's a 9. So that is a 9 spare. 7 frame. Norm throws a 6-1-6. That's a 9 spare. Back 1 frame to the 6. Weber throws a 6-2-1. That's a 9 spare. So it's down to the wire. It's a 3-pin lead for Norm. Dick throws a 5-4-3. That's 2-1 boom. So that's 12. That is a strike. Norm Duke throws out 2-4-6. 8. Who do we appreciate? That's 12. So that's a strike. On to 9. He throws a 1-6. Pair of 6s back 1 frame. So the 9th frame goes back to the 8th. Dick throws a 4-5-3. That's a strike. Now he is actually trailing by 3 points to Norm, so Dick will get a chance. On 10, Dick throws a 5-2-3. That's a strike. Second ball is a 3-1-5. He misses the strike. He picks up the spare for 2-12. Norm Duke will need high numbers. Gotta remember, he's up by 3. Norm throws a 1-3-5. That's a spare, and that's not going to do it. Even if he strikes, that's 205. So Dick Weber will win no matter what. Yeah, Dick Weber will win no matter what because even if Norm throws a strike, that's 205. He will throw a 2-6. That's a 9. He misses. That's a 204. That's actually good news. 204. That puts him second in the losers pool. Well, of the 25 matches, the top 7 scores move on. Duke's now putting himself in second at 204. Not half bad. But yeah, Weber with a pair of strikes when you need to. 212, 204. One more match because we do 5 a day. Mark Ruff will take on Wayne Song. Ruff will take on Song in this matchup. So we shall see. Wayne Song 213, Mark Ruff 222. Mark Ruff will throw first, and he throws a 4-4-1. That's a 9. That's not a strike. Song throws a 4-4-3, 11. That's a strike. Second frame for Song is a 1-5-4. That's 10. That's just enough for a strike. Roth throws a 4-3-1. That's an 8. That's 8 spare. Third frame for Roth is a 5-3-1. That's a 9. That's not going to be a strike. Son throws a 5-5-4. That's a pair of fives. He goes back 2 frames. His third frame scores his first frame score. Well, that's 14. Son throws a 1-4-6. That's a strike for 11 points. Roth. That's a 6-3-2. That's a strike himself. Fifth frame. Roth throws a 4-6-3. That's 13. That's a K on anyone's board. Son throws a 5-4-2. So he's got a strike going on the 6. He throws a 3-5-4. That's 12. That's enough for a strike. Roth throws a 4-3-6. That's a strike on its own accord. On the 7. He throws a 5-4-2. That's a strike. Son throws a 1-6-6. That's 13. That's a strike. On to 8. He throws a 1-2-6. Oh, and he had a perfect game going through 7. Roth throws 2-1-3. That is not going to be a strike. So he botches it too. He's down by 33 points on the 9. He throws a 4-3-4. That's a strike on everyone's board. Son throws a 2-6-6. That's a spare. The back one frame. But he's still winning, I think. Roth will throw first. Roth throws a 4-3-1. That's a spare. He's not going to win. Son's going to win for sure. He guarantees a spot. Son throws strike 9. 267. Not half bad. Mark Ruff, his last ball is going to be a strike 226. So that's good news for Mark Ruff. That's the highest point total by a loser, 226. So that could get him into the next round. Of course, there's 20 more matches, but yeah, 226. That puts him in the lead right now by points. I think it'll take about 220 to get in as a wild card, but he did it. Oh. Wayne Son wins 267, 226. That's 5 matches, and we'll have another 5 matches coming up in the near future. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.